So it looks like the Biden administration has been making some serious headway on their first-time homebuyer bill that was hugely discussed going back to his campaign trail last year, and it's actually been one of the hottest topics since the start of his presidency. Now, the first bill was a proposition of giving a $15,000 tax credit to first-time homebuyers. Now, this is really important to understand because a tax credit is not the same as helping people for a down payment. All it does is that it reduces the taxable income. The updated bill, which actually it's being drafted and it's still not. It hasn't passed the House and it hasn't passed Congress. And this is a draft as of Tuesday, April 14th. Has a lot of updates into it, and that's really what we're gonna be discussing in this video. And let's go ahead and jump in the computer because I'm gonna be dissecting this whole draft here with you right now. So this Down Payment Towards Equity Act of 2021, by the way, that's the name, the official name, is a grant for states to be used for down payment assistance to first generation home buyers. Now, that's really one of the biggest changes because from his initial initiative, it wasn't money, it wasn't a tax credit for first generation home buyers. It was just for first time home buyers. Now, this is going to eliminate quite a lot of people because if your parents owned a home or currently own a home, it doesn't matter if you're a first time home buyer, you do not qualify. So that right there just takes out a huge amount of the population. And as I go through this whole thing, you're going to start seeing why, really kind of who is it more towards, targeted towards to. Now, the funds for this grant can be used for down payment, and also it can be added to the closing cost. So obviously when you guys buy a house, you have two things. You have the down payment, you have your closing cost. One of the main hurdles of most first-time home buyers is just the fact that they might not have enough money for both things, the down payment and the closing cost. In a housing market as it is right now, it's really important for people, for buyers to pay their closing costs. So this will be something that will definitely help. Now, this will also help a home buyer use the money for buying down the interest rate. So obviously with a lower interest rate, they will be able to qualify for a much lower monthly payment and maybe even a little bit more housing too. So who is going to be eligible, or what are some of the other eligibilities besides being a first-time home buyer or first-generation home buyer rather? There are going to be some income limitations as well. The income limit for most areas is going to be at or below 120% of the area median income. For high cost living areas such as California, New York, DC, and maybe other areas as well, that amount goes up to 180% of the area median income. If you don't know what your area median income is, I'm actually going to be linking somewhere here on the description box so that you can check it out yourself. This article also goes into basically stating who is a first generation home buyer. So it's basically any individual whose parents or guardians never owned their own home during the home buyer's lifetime, or previously owned a home during the home buyer's lifetime but lost the home to foreclosure, short sale, deed in lieu, or foreclosure, or currently do not own a home right now. So maybe if your parents do not own a home right now, then you may be able to qualify, but they will have to have gone through something like this, such as a foreclosure, or a short seller, or a deed in lieu. Now, if an individual lived in foster care, they would automatically qualify as a first generation home buyer. Assistance limit. So this actually is a little bit more than the initial $15,000. This actually bumps up the assistance to $20,000 or even up to $25,000 if the home buyer qualifies as a socially and economically disadvantaged individual. And that's just really a fancy word to say that. Literally, it's just anybody with an ethnic background. So Hispanic, Black or African American, Native American, or Asian American as well. In that, basically, they describe it right here. It's any individual identifying as Black, Hispanic, Asian American, Native American, or any combination thereof will be presumed to meet this definition. Eligible mortgages. So, some down payment assistance programs may have some limitations as far as what kind of loan you can get. This one is a little bit broad. You can get a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac mortgage, which really is a conventional loan. It could be either insured by FHA or USDA, or meets the definition of a qualified mortgage. Basically, almost everything except looks like VA loans. Even VA loans are, qualified mortgages, but definitely no jumbo loans. So if you're looking for a jumbo mortgage, which is anything over the conforming limit for your area, and right now in most areas is $540,000 and some change, then that would be a jumbo loan. With most grants or down payment assistance programs, there's always going to be some limitations as far as being able to sell the property in a time frame, or refinancing. This is exactly no different, and really the reason for that is because the government they don't want individuals to take this money and use it for real estate investing. Home buyers receiving assistance under this act will be able to require to pay back all assistance they received if they stop occupying their homes less than a year after purchase. So if you buy the home and you leave the property, you rent it out, then you have to pay back the whole $25,000. Or if you buy the house, sell it, or refinance it also, you may also have to pay this money back. Well, if you sell it, you definitely will have to pay the money back. However, the home buyer will be required to pay back will decrease 20% for each year they live in the home, and there will be no penalty after 5 years. So really after the 5th year, this grant is forgiven, which is actually pretty cool, because if you get to stay in the house for 5 years, then you basically did get $20,000, $25,000 pretty much for free. That was truly a grant and not a program that basically requires the home buyer to pay it back at some point in the future. All right, so there you guys have it. That's basically the latest on the first-time homebuyer bill, which, is one of the hottest topics right now in housing. My thoughts about it are a little bit split, because yes, first-time homebuyers, their main hurdle is always the money, coming up with the money for down payment. However, if you guys have been keeping up with the news, the housing market is just extremely hot right now. There's a lot of buyers and there are very few sellers, and introducing something like this where now it's actually going to increase the amount of home buyers out there, all it's going to do is it's just going to push up prices even more if the supply doesn't get fixed. And really, I think that's the biggest problem that we're facing in housing right now in real estate in 2021, is that the supply is just not there. And it's a common theme regardless of what area you're located in right now. Obviously, some areas are worse than others, but I mean, this is a housing market that just obviously favors the seller and introducing even more buyers, because now these buyers that did not have any money for a down payment and closing costs, now they're going to be able to come into the marketplace, which is of course going to be increasing the demand. If you guys like the video, make sure that you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, and let me know what you think about it too. Just go ahead and put it in the comment box below. More than interested to hear what are your thoughts about this whole plan from the government right now. And I will see you guys until the next one. Thank you for watching.